Views expressed by Casters Guild members are only the opinions of that member, and that could change from day to day. Guild members may use mature language, but that in no way means they are mature. Listener discretion is advised.
We're here to give you all the Switch 2 news you can handle from the latest Nintendo Direct, keep you up to date on the upcoming MCU projects, and still have time left over to talk some Dogma, because that's the spell we're casting tonight on Casters Guild. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Casters Guild. I am your Guild Master Ric Perry, the one and only.
And I'm your Guild Master Baron Kane, and I'm at least one more.
And joining us is a returning Guild member. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Billy, and I really never have anything for this.
Most guests never do.
I know, and I know it's coming, and I'll rehearse it in the kitchen while I'm cooking. I'll be like, all right, I'm going to say this. And then you ask me, and I'm like, oh.
Hey, guys. Hi, I'm Billy. Nice to meet you.
All right, we've got two pretty big things on the docket. Two things that honestly we could vote entire podcast to on their own. So we're just going to dive into them because I don't know if we're going to get to anything else. Just kind of as a heads up to any listeners, the two things I'm talking about are the Nintendo Direct that just hit as of day of recording today, and then an entire list of every Marvel movie and TV show set to release for 2025 and beyond.
You didn't want to talk about the seat thing again?
No, I think we covered that pretty good, and it didn't take us 5.5 hours.
Sure.
We could have a fan fiction about the seat thing. We could rewrite it. We could make it better.
We could. I mean, legit, yes, we could.
Kind of already did.
Yeah.
But we could do even better than that. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this Nintendo Direct. Billy, we invited you on this episode because you said you had thoughts.
Yeah, I have thoughts. So the Switch is an interesting machine. The first one. It's a very underpowered machine. If you look at the rest of the ones that came out for its generation, such as the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox, whatever, I can't keep up with I think it's the S1X, S1X circle.
Microsoft's naming conventions, I don't know what they're doing.
So whatever they have. You look at those two, and you compare it to the Switch. The Switch looks like it's a little bit around PlayStation 3. That's what you look like you're messing with around there. Nintendo got away with that because they really know how to suck every bit of energy and every bit of processing out of that system for their games. You saw that with the Zelda games. They did something that's almost impossible with the processors they had in that machine. So we watched this Direct. Here comes the Switch 2. And the first thing I notice is one of the games says it's 4K, 60 hertz, 1080p, 120 hertz. So you're telling me that this little thing can give you 120 frames per second and also give you 4K without bogging down? I need to see that. I don't believe that. It's not that I don't think so. I think the screen is 120 hertz capable. And I saw in some of the paperwork, that's what they say. Capable. Doesn't say that that's what the games are going to run at. And I don't think all the games are going to run at that. I think there's a few games that they're going to be able to hit that. But for the most part, the majority aren't. And I think that's a bit misleading.
Yeah, I feel like what you're going to get is kind of, if you're getting one, then you won't be getting the other. Like, if it's going to run at 4K, it won't run at 120 frames per second. And if it's running at 120 frames per second, it's not going to be in 4K. But Nintendo's surprised me before. I mean, they've had little consoles like the 3DS. It made a lot of claims, and I was like, especially the XL, I was like, when this thing comes out, it's not going to be able to do what it says it's going to be able to do. And then it did it. So, I mean, I would be more surprised if it did do it than anything else. I think you're right in that it won't be capable, and the marketing is a little misleading.
So what I'm afraid of is the ambition of Nintendo. Do you remember Mortal Kombat 1, the recent one that came out about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago?
Mm-hmm.
Came out on PC, came out on the next-gen systems, and it came out on the Switch. And the Switch version was comically bad.
Yeah.
I can't really compare it to it. It was just terrible. So I'm wondering how we're going to run AAA games. They announced Cyberpunk, they announced Borderlands 4, they announced the new Final Fantasy remake, at least the first one. Remake Integrate, I believe it's called. These are all AAA games. I want to see how they run this machine, because there's other handhelds out there besides the Switch or the Switch 2. There's other handhelds that run AMD structure, and you can actually play computer games on them. They're handheld computers. You can run PlayStation 4 games on this. You can run just about any emulator on this, and you can play AAA games from Steam on these. So Nintendo Switch has kind of put itself into the next tier up, and they're competing with these things like the Steam Deck, where before the old Switch had its own thing where, Switch games were pretty much only Switch games. They didn't really mess around with the mainstream titles too much. And if they did, it was something that came out during the Xbox 360 era. So, like, if you wanted to play Borderlands on the original Switch, they had Borderlands 2, and I think eventually 3, but you were never, it was years and years after it came out.
I think it's like you're saying. I think they have made a machine. I feel like the Switch was a test. Like, they were like, how far can we push this with limited hardware? It's something we can make not super expensive, that we can get in the hands of everybody. And now that they've done it, I feel like you're right in that they're trying to enter the space of the Steam Deck and trying to compete with Steam Decks. Now, that being said, I think Nintendo will always be a machine that plays its own games way better than it plays any other developer's games. Like, I bought a Switch. It's the same reason I bought a Wii. It's the same reason I bought a GameCube. And the same reason I'll still own a PlayStation, and the same reason I still own a PC. A Switch will never be a replacement for my PC or my PlayStation. When I want to play these big AAA games, I'm going to get it on my PlayStation or I'm going to get it on my PC. I will not expect my Switch 2 to run Cyberpunk Definitive Edition. It says it can. I'm still not going to expect it to. Same thing with all the other AAA games that are coming out for it. Now, if it says it can, it should be able to, and there are going to be a lot of people where they can't afford to have a Switch 2 and a PC. They can't afford to have a Switch 2 and a, PlayStation. So if the Switch 2 is saying that it can do all of these things, it should be able to do it. But just my expectations and where they're at, I'm not expecting it to run a lot of these games super well. But then again, a lot of these AAA titles are things that did run on, let's say, PlayStation 4. And like you were saying just a moment ago, the Switch was at the level of a PlayStation 3. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for a Switch 2 to easily run at the level of, let's say, a PlayStation 4.
And that's what the graphics look like. If you took a good pause and you look down, they look really good. They look like a PlayStation 4. And you know what? A handheld PlayStation 4, that's pretty cool. I know I'm being a negative Nancy, but it's because I have some things to talk. I have some things to say, that's all.
No, you should be the negative voice, because I've always been a Nintendo fanboy, and I am going to do nothing but sing the praises. So, yeah, there should be a voice of dissent here.
So the other thing that concerns me is when the game is blah, 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 Switch Edition. When they give it the version of a Switch version, because that means compromise to me. That means this is different than a normal game. Something's different. And usually when you see something's different, that means something's a little bit worse. So that the games concern me because of that.
But yeah, like I was saying, I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I'm gonna buy this machine regardless of its specs, regardless of what it claims to do, because there's no way that I'm not gonna play the new Mario game, the new Zelda game, the new Donkey Kong game, and those games are never gonna be available on Steam. So it's just that's what Nintendo systems are always going to be for me. It's like I want to play those Nintendo exclusives.
Yeah, I can't negative Nancy those games. That new Zelda game where you go back in time, that looks pretty cool.
I've always been a fan of I feel like it almost feels like a hot take, but like I've always been a fan of the Hyrule Warriors series. I've played all of the games that have come out in that series so far, and I feel like I'm in a minority when I say I love those games, but I have a lot of fun with them.
I can't say I've played them. I'm not the biggest Zelda fan, so I don't really gravitate toward those games, but this one looks like something I would play. This looks like a good time.
Did you ever get into the Dynasty Warriors games?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, that might be why. I mean, it's basically just Zelda Dynasty Warriors.
Ooh, that's fun. But yeah, there was a ton of games that they announced, just a ton. I was trying to list them all out, and every time I thought it was done, there was another 15 left.
Before we get too far away from the hardware itself,
Yeah.
I want to say we are looking at a bigger and better screen. We're looking at bigger and better Joy-Cons. The new mouse controls look sick. I feel like that's going to lend itself to a lot more control options that will unlock a whole new library of games for the Switch 2. They put a big emphasis on their better speakers now, where the sound's going to be better out of it, which a lot of people had problems with the sound out of the Switch, which, it's a handheld console, but so headphones were like kind of a big deal with the original Switch, but apparently you won't need them with this one. The dock has like a whole new cooling system, so you can have more extended gaming sessions without having to worry about overheating. We got a new USB port, which was another big problem. Like, it seems like a lot of these things, these additions, they've been listening to the fans. They improved that little stand, that little kickstand. They gave us a kickstand that won't break and actually will do what it's supposed to do. They gave us extra USB ports so we can actually charge it while it's on the kickstand.
Kickstand in this home, that kickstand is a cat toy.
Yeah.
Because it falls off and the cats play with it and we lose it.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the upgrades, they were listening to the fans and listening to people saying, this is what I don't like about the Switch. And it was stuff that they could easily fix. And so they did when it came to the Switch 2.
All right, so let me go ahead and be negative again. Actually, let me be positive. So I'm looking at the screen stuff, right? It's telling me about the screen. It looks like it supports VRR, variable refresh rate, which will actually keep things at 120 hertz. This is actually a pretty good thing to have on that screen. It supports it up to 120 hertz. So that'll actually lock the screen's resolution to what the game is playing. So you don't end up with tearing or anything like that. That's pretty awesome. So that's actually worth the money right there. The ROG Ally has the same similar screen. It's not as big. It's got that VRR. It's really worth it.
Well, as long as you're talking about worth the price, we're looking at a price point of $450 for the version that does not come with the game packed in, just the system. If you compare that to what it costs in Japan and do a rate of yen to US dollar, it's only going to cost $334 US in Japan. So you're looking at about $120 difference. There can be a lot of reasons for that difference. I don't think it's all going to be about shipping costs in this particular case. I will say that the Japanese version is region locked and the US version is not. So technically it is a better version of the system if you think about it. But, there are a lot of things going on with trade right now that could be affecting the price of our consoles.
Yeah, that's true. Now, with that price point of $450, that puts it into Steam Deck land. Steam Deck's $549 for the 512 gigabyte OLED screen, so you're getting a much better screen. Doesn't have such a high refresh rate. That screen only has a 90 hertz refresh rate, but I think the OLED screen is much better than the LCD screen that's going to be on the Switch 2. There's no way. The OLED screen on that thing is beautiful. Once you get around that price point, you have to compete with the Steam Deck, and the Steam Deck's going to have a greater amount of games that you want to play. So you have to ask yourself, are those Nintendo games worth it? Those handful of Nintendo games that you really want to play, is it actually worth it to spend $450 on that when for $100 more you can get something that's going to play everything?
For me, like I said, it's going to be, but you will have to ask for yourself, because for me, I've already got my PC, and if I want to play those games, I can play them on my PC. I'm not all that concerned about playing them on the go to where I would need a Steam Deck or something like that. And the Nintendo games, I'm always going to want those Nintendo games. I also think that Nintendo is kind of pulling a fast one on us because they've already released a Switch OLED. The Switch Pro is already the OLED or whatever, and they could have put an OLED in the Switch 2. And I feel like the only reason they're holding it back is so they can release an upgraded version of the Switch 2 later that has the OLED in it.
I mean, that's scummy Nintendo for you. Speaking of portability, the battery in that thing, I'm concerned about the battery still pumping out, 60 hertz at 1080p. That battery is going to last maybe 2 hours at most, which, if I remember right, the Switch 1 would actually last you a pretty decent amount of time playing.
Yeah.
So battery size does concern me on that thing. But really, I am just being a negative Nancy. I'm being very nitpicky because that thing looks amazing.
Yeah, but you should be. I mean, if we just sit here and talk about all the things that we love about it, then this stuff doesn't come up. While we are still talking about price point, $80 for a digital first-party game and $90 for a physical.
Listen, I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. I got nothing on $90 for a physical game. Does not make any sense to me. $90 for a physical game is they're gonna destroy the game market. They just moved up to what, $70 a game.
Mm-hmm.
Your average AAA games moved up to 70. So if Nintendo moves it up to 80 and 90 physical, well, those AAA games are gonna be like, well, maybe we can go up to 80 too.
That's the problem. That's the problem right there.
Up to 80.
Because with Nintendo, you know, we talk about the things that are scummy about Nintendo, but there are things that are great about Nintendo too. And one of the things that's great about Nintendo is Nintendo polish. They polish the hell out of their games, and when you buy that game, you are getting the complete experience. You're not going to need a day one patch. You're not going to need a bunch of updates because there's a bunch of bugs. That game is polished to hell. And when it comes to DLC, Nintendo is not the type of company to constantly release DLCs to finish the game. When they release DLCs, it's for people who are like uber fans of the game and they want to pay extra money for like extra cosmetics and stuff like that. They are not locking parts of the game. They're not locking the true ending of the game behind a DLC cost. So when you pay that 80 or 90 for a Nintendo game, you are getting a polished game that doesn't have a bunch of bugs and will not need to buy DLC for later in order to get the full experience of that game. Meanwhile,
but damn, that's just a lot of money.
It is a lot. But what's even worse is when these other developers, when BioWare and ZeniMax and Ubisoft come in and release these games at $80 and $90 a piece, they will be buggy messes when they first come out. They will require day one patches, and there will be large parts of the game that will be locked behind DLC. And that is not the same thing that you're getting from Nintendo at that price point. And it's already too much for the Nintendo price point. And it's going to be way too much for these other games that aren't putting in what you're getting with Nintendo.
That's a very good point, sir.
I would also like to point out in these price points that are being put out there that are already way too high, in my opinion. We're not going to name any names.
Oh, snap.
But it was just announced that a 24% tariff has been dropped on all Japanese imports.
Nintendo's going to eat that.
Now,
Nintendo will.
To be fair,
they'll eat that.
This is a quote from Forbes. Quote, though some Switch consoles are produced in China, the Financial Times reported Nintendo has moved some of its production facilities to Vietnam, which will help the company avoid tariffs, unless eventually Vietnam is targeted as well. Right. They just announced a 46% tariff on Vietnam.
I feel like, I think what Billy was saying with Nintendo will eat that is like in the past we've seen them eat those costs before in order to keep their costs where they are. And I feel like I was kind of already pointing out, I feel like the price that they already releasing it at already has the cushion for the tariff that they were expecting for them to eat that, like Billy was saying. But you know, if it's 46%, who knows?
If anybody can get around that, it's Nintendo. Nintendo can do it. I mean, they're the Disney of their field. Disney can do anything. Nintendo can do anything. They can figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they will eat that cost. If it's that high, probably not. But yeah, I also think with the cost of the Nintendo Switch being, what was it, $450?
$450 without any games. Yeah. They're going to release a version that comes with no games, and they're going to release a version that comes with Mario Kart Digital packed in. I did not see a price released for the Mario packed in. I'm assuming it's probably just going to be like...
For the what packed in?
Mario Kart, the new Mario Kart game that they announced.
From what I saw today, the game itself, by itself, is $80, and then it's $30 cheaper if you buy it as a package.
Okay, so you're looking at $500 for the system and game packed in, which is how I'm going to buy it.
Okay, so it sounds to me, looking at the specs, especially that screen, they're probably taking a loss on each one of these systems, and they plan on making it up in the back end. which is what they did last time with the Switch. And at that time, that was the only high-powered handheld there was. And they were taking a loss. They were selling at $300 at the time. And I believe they were taking a loss on that, just making it up in the back end by selling games.
That's a classic Nintendo move.
Yeah, that's what the Steam Deck is. The Steam Deck makes it on the back end, because you have to buy your games from the Steam store.
All right, we talked a lot about this hardware. Let's talk about some of these features and some of these games that they announced. I'm going to package some stuff in from the Nintendo Direct that just came out today and the Nintendo Direct that came out last week. The features they've added of the digital game cart and game share. It's not a perfect system, and it definitely doesn't fix the problem of digital games over physical games, but it has relieved a lot of the pain points, if you will. Digital game carts, being able to take my digital game, turn it into a quote-unquote digital game cart, and allowing a friend or a family member to share it for, I think it's a week. I think they're allowed to, or it might be up to 30 days. I don't remember exactly what it was. And that just me not having access to that game for as long as that they're playing it is just like letting somebody borrow my physical copy, which is pretty cool.
That's insane. Nintendo went for that.
It's still not perfect because, like, if you borrow a game cart and your time runs out on it and it's returned to its original owner, you kind of lose all the digital files that come with that game. So from what I was understanding, even like your progress on that game.
So if you bought the game, you couldn't go back to your save?
Not if you didn't do it within the time that you were borrowing the game.
Okay, so you'd have, if you got a week, if you didn't buy it during that week, it won't save your progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect system.
Yeah. It's a start. It's a start. And it's a big step for Nintendo.
It's enough. It's what it is. It's enough for your friend to decide if they actually want to buy the game or not, which is obviously what Nintendo is trying to do. And then,
what do you think? Go ahead.
And then with the new game share, where if you have a game cart and your friends have Switch systems, whether it be a Switch 2, Switch, or Switch Lite, and you can play that game locally, multiplayer, all with one cart, all with one purchase of that game. And then if everybody's got Switch 2s, you can do it online, all with one copy of the game, which that blows my mind. Because like the entire thing with online gaming nowadays is everybody's got to buy a system, everybody's got to buy a copy of the game, and being able to share a game and play it multiplayer online, that blows my mind.
It sounds like Nintendo's listening. So about a year ago, a little over a year ago, they took down all the emulators on the market for the Nintendo Switch. They did that. And I think they listened to all the people that were saying, hey, this is why we wanted these emulators, because of reasons like that. So I think they're doing this actually to kind of curb the whole piracy thing, by making you able to share these cartridges among your family. You're less likely to, hey, I have one version of it, why don't I just pirate it? Because it's only a matter of time before the Switch 2 is taken apart and there's some way to play the games online on your computer.
Which I think Nintendo indulges a lot in the bad ways of combating piracy. This is a good way of combating piracy.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing with the digital consoles that they've offered with the online service and the upgrade service, which is basically just emulators built into the Switch, because a lot of people pirate these old games because they just don't have a way to play them. And giving us a GameCube emulator on the Switch 2, if you have the online pass with the expansion pass, with some of the most popular games on the GameCube coming out day one, and they're going to be adding more games to that later, that's fantastic.
So, okay, that's great that they're going to have an emulator for GameCube, but there's an emulator already on the market called Dolphin that's going to be, I don't know, more powerful than the one that's going to come with the Switch 2. On Dolphin, you can up your resolution. You can change from widescreen for games that aren't widescreen at all. There's widescreen versions that have been patched into that game. So it really isn't a selling point for me. If I want to play those games, there's a better place for me to play this game.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to be a selling point, but I think it will be like a combat piracy thing. For people who don't already have Dolphin, for people who don't already have a better way to play those games, I think it will stop a lot of people from seeking out better ways to play those games, because if they have a way to do it easy on a system they already own.
Now, they do make it sexy with having the multiplayer online.
Yes.
Now, that's something else. So you can do that with certain emulators for certain systems, but there's no way it's going to be as good as Nintendo's going to have it set up.
That, and being able to utilize that new game chat feature built into the system, which is essentially just Discord chat built into your Switch 2. It's just, it's made by Nintendo, so they get to control all the variables, which there are parts where I understand that, where it's like, you don't have to worry about somebody else's system fucking up if you're Nintendo, like you're controlling all the variables. But at the same time, you're also kind of, putting everything under your thumb by keeping the control and not letting anybody else touch your stuff.
Yeah, and did you see the video portion of the game chat? Where you can see each other in real time, kind of like you do in a Discord chat.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to have that functionality that Discord has as well. It's a little creepy though. It seems more like. Do you remember the motion sensor that was on the Xbox 360 that you can kind of play?
The Kinect.
You wave your arms. It reminds me of a Kinect for some reason.
Well, because of that Mario Party add-on that they're doing for it, which is basically like Mario Party Kinect.
But if Nintendo's doing it, it's going to be so much better than when Microsoft did it. Because Microsoft didn't do a terrible job. It's just they didn't make any games that would actually be good for the Kinect.
Here's my concern. The Kinect was a series of cameras. It was at least 3 cameras and an IR sensor that it used the information from all of them in order to use yourself as the avatar for a game, right? It had some pretty good tracking. There are people who have made hacks for the Kinect because of how good of a camera it was to do things with it outside of the Xbox.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
That Switch camera is a single camera. I think it's going to be more comparable to the iToy, if you remember that from like PS2.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Is that the one where you hold up with the round thing, looks like an ice cream cone? Or is that from PlayStation 4?
That's from PlayStation 4. That's when they were dabbling, starting to go into like that was their answer to the Kinect. And eventually got used as their VR controllers. The PS2 iToy was just a single camera that sat on top of your TV and did motion tracking to play different games.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. And I think that's the kind of technology we're looking at for a single camera. I don't know. Nintendo could surprise me. I mean, like, cameras are not what they were back when the PS2 came out. Cameras are not what they were back when the 360 came out. So maybe they can do more with a single camera. I don't know. Yeah,
probably. Yeah, I mean, just think about, like, I have a simple Logitech camera, and I can set it to follow me around the room.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah, this is probably light years ahead of what was on the Kinect. Yeah, the Kinect came out 17 years ago. We've come a long way. So I would imagine the Nintendo Switch camera is amazing, though, because I saw what it was putting up. It doesn't look great, but for what it is, it's going to be amazing because it's Nintendo.
If nothing else, it will be great to use for like video chat with your friends while you're playing games on your Switch. I think it will do that great. For as far as like motion controlling your games with it in like a Kinect or an iToy way, I want to see it happen because it reminds me of a lot of other things that Nintendo has done that has been kind of gimmicky that just didn't work the way they wanted it to. Like the Wii Motion Plus to control your sword in Skyward Sword, it just didn't work the way it was supposed to. It sounded amazing, and then we actually got it in our hands and it just didn't work. Or like that microphone they had for the GameCube that got added to a bunch of the like Mario Party games, it worked, just like, not super great. So as far as actually using it to like control games and stuff like that, we'll see. But I think it's going to be a great video chat device.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. I have a good friend that has a Mario Kart day every week, and this will be good for her.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and get into the games, because I feel like we've covered the features and the hardware, and that Mario Kart game was the first one that they announced. To me, one of the best things about it is it's not just another Mario Kart. It doesn't look like, oh, of course there's a new system. They made another one. They made another Mario Kart. This looks different. It looks like it's adding features that Mario Kart players want.
This is Mario Kart Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
It is the open party or the open world Mario Kart. Like, it's going to be basically Forza with Mario people.
Yeah, and being able to like meet up with your friends and play Mario Kart, and like you can meet up in the world of Mario Kart. And then the way they're handling Grand Prix now, where you drive from one track to the other instead of just being like dropped at the starting line at each one, that it all looks fantastic.
Yeah, it gives you freedom to mess around. You remember when the Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, and it was the first mainstream game to show us that you can have success in a game where you just walk around and just do shit.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Kart's finally taken that on. Now you can drive around and just do shit. It's like the evolution of Mario Kart.
Yeah, and I think for the people who just want to drive, I feel like that's going to be an option still, like where you can just start a race from the starting line if that's what you want to do. But I think that's what it's going to be all about, is like freedom to play it the way you want to play it. Yeah,
it's going to be a pretty good one. Just looking at the features of it, it's probably $79.99 to be honest. If everything works the way it's advertised,
And if I can get it for $30 cheaper packed in with my system, then even better.
Yeah, that's a normal person price.
Another thing I want to point out, I feel like I forgot to mention this fact when I was talking about Nintendo increasing these prices to $80 and $90. Nintendo games don't go on sale ever.
No, not really. No, not for years.
Yeah, if like these are going to be the prices for this, you can't just be like, oh, I'll wait for them to go down. They don't. Until a new system comes out, and even then they usually hold their price for like quite a while. So just be ready to pay that price for Mario Kart if you want it for quite some time. You're not going to be able to just wait for it to go on sale.
Now, I didn't see what I didn't see was the prices for any of the third-party games, because I imagine charging $79.99 for the third-party games is going to be insane. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 for $79.99. No one's going to buy that.
I do have this concern. I feel like they shouldn't be the prices, but like we were kind of saying earlier, I feel like these other developers are going to see, oh, Nintendo's charging $80 or $90 for these games. Why can't we?
I think they can't, because the comparable games on the different systems are $59.99, $69.99 at the most.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, you've already priced your games. You've priced them. What are you going to do? You can't. You can't just up your game unless you up all of them, which that's always an option.
Yeah.
And they're going to hear me. That's a pretty good idea.
This is what I'm concerned about. Maybe they won't do it with the ones that have already released and have already had their price point set, but new ones that come out, I'm genuinely concerned.
Yeah. That being said, I'd also pay $79.99 for that Donkey Kong game.
Yes, it looks fantastic. I don't think we've seen Donkey Kong as a 3D platformer since 64.
Not like this, no.
Yeah, we've seen like, the 2.5Ds or like, the side scrollers that are technically 3D, but not a 3D platformer since 64.
Yeah, it was a lot like Nintendo 64. Not Nintendo, like Mario 64.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this is going to be insane. You have that dig mechanic, just smashing through things. It's going to be pretty fun. It looks like, what was it, Mario Odyssey?
Yeah.
It looks very Mario Odyssey, only with Donkey Kong.
I feel like a lot of the parts of the game remind me of Wario games. Wario games are like 3D platforms that are all about collecting as much treasure as possible. And that's what this game looks like to me. But the Wario games are all 2D. Like, they're all like side-scrolling platforms. They're not like 3D platformers. So I feel like we're getting a little bit of Donkey Kong 64. I feel like we're getting a little bit of Mario Odyssey. I feel like we're getting a little bit of Wario. And it's going to have that Nintendo polish on it. And it's going to be fun as fuck.
Did you see the preview? You're also getting to get a tiny bit of Donkey Kong Country in it. Just the tiniest little...
Oh, yeah. It switched to like 2D. Like, switched to side-scroller for like a minute.
Just for like a hot second. Mario Odyssey did that when they would switch to Mario 1 style for a split second or two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that game's going to be awesome. Hey, Baron, how you doing?
Good. I'm enjoying the conversation. I'll be quite honest. I feel horrible right now. So I'm actually enjoying the fact that we have someone else on here who is actually a Nintendo fan and is willing to talk about this. I think I've been pretty vocal about my feelings about the Switch 2, the prices of games lately, specifically Nintendo games. And they don't necessarily match up with Guildmaster Ric. But yeah, so it feels good that despite me feeling bad, I have someone on here who can go toe to toe with a Nintendo conversation.
Well, I'm sorry to hear you're not feeling too good, but thanks for being on the show. Appreciate you there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, what I'm doing right now is the literal least I can do, and that's be present and chime in every once in a while.
Is there any games you're excited for that's coming out on the Switch 2?
On the Switch 2 specifically, I mean, like, I obviously had a couple things hop out at me, but it's just like, I could play those on other things. Story of Seasons, that seems kind of fun. That I would be really interested to play that.
That does seem right up your alley.
It does. What's Project 007?
They didn't show us much. It was more a teaser than anything else.
You know, if they just name it GoldenEye, that's all they need to do.
Right.
Just name it GoldenEye.
You know what? Name it GoldenEye 2 so they don't make it seem like it's a remake.
Oh,
and
snap.
then if anybody could get away with making something and calling it GoldenEye 2, which if you know the franchise, doesn't make any sense.
Right.
No, it's not supposed to.
But it would make sense in this case.
They'll figure it out.
All we got was a teaser of a bullet being loaded into a chamber and then them spinning the camera on the chamber so you were looking out the barrel with that spiral barrel, and then the 007 theme music, and then the screen go red.
It was actually really cool.
Yes, it was a really cool teaser, but like that's all we got. We don't know anything about this game. We don't know if it's going to be a first-person shooter. We don't know if it's going to be a multiplayer. We don't know if it's going to be story-based. We don't know. I mean, we can make assumptions that it will be, a versus first-person shooter like GoldenEye was, but we don't actually know anything about it.
Gotcha.
I think with that teaser, it has to be.
It has to be.
It has to be with that teaser.
Maybe that's why they're calling it Project 007. Maybe it's one of those, we are making, quote, GoldenEye, end quote, but we're going to put in all of the characters from James Bond movies.
All 24 movies.
All 24 movies.
I think there's 24.
Sean Connery comes in and he just uses slappers. And it's not James Bond, it's literally Sean
Connery.
Just slapping people. And it only works on women because he's a horrible person.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
You took that straight out of subtext. You were like, I'm not going to leave this ambiguous at all.
No. There's a quote. I saw the fucking interview that he said it in. He's a horrible man.
I don't disagree with you.
That's hilarious.
And by horrible, I mean he abuses people, is what I mean.
Yes.
So he's a pimp named Slickback?
Yes. I do know that someone could be excited for the Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Yeah, I do. I know someone as well, but they won't play it anyway.
Oh, fair.
I built that person an entire Nintendo system just to play Tetris, and I've gotten them to play it once, maybe twice.
Oh.
So,
we're not naming names, though.
No, I don't. Yeah, I'm not. Nor am I pointing any elbows.
Your next game, hot take here. Welcome Tour should be free. Welcome Tour should be free and should be packaged in with every Switch 2 console.
I don't know what that is.
I missed that one.
So Welcome Tour is basically a tech demo for the Switch 2. Like, the idea of the game is that you're a little avatar and you actually are walking around like the Joy-Cons and walking around the screen of the Switch. And there's all these little mini games that you can interact with and all these little posters you can read that show you all the cool things about the Switch 2 that you might not know. It'll be launched when the system launches, but it will be available for purchase and download, not...
Yeah, who's going to buy that willingly?
Me.
I was going to say, kids are going to love to buy that. People that want to know what the thing can do. I mean, I don't see how much it is.
It's the same reason I bought 1-2 Switch when the Switch came out. But it does 1-2 Switch seems like more of a game than Welcome Tour does. And people berated me for buying 1-2 Switch because they're like, it's just a tech demo to show you all the things that the Switch does. And I was like, I still want that, and it's still fun. And I'm going to do it again when the Switch 2 comes out.
You're like with Nintendo, like Eric Voss is with the MCU.
Sure.
I mean, that is an insult.
I don't get the reference, but
a loving insult. Someone out there might get it.
That was for you, someone.
But it should be free, and it should be included with every Switch 2.
Correct. I agree. Because it looks like a cute little thing that could actually be really, really informative.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Big Daddy Nintendo as giveth so much, they must also taketh.
Yes.
So that's how they make their money on the back end.
Hot take, I think the upgrade packs should be free too.
Yeah, if not, they should be $10, $20 at the most. But the $10 sounds great. Those upgrade packs, okay, so there's a way to play 4K Zelda games, the Breath of the Wild, and what's the other one called?
Tears of the Kingdom.
I'm sorry. Tears of the Kingdom. You can play that 4K using emulators online. They work. You can play them 60 hertz 4K already. So Nintendo's not doing anything you can't already do, but theirs is going to be so much more polished than the emulator.
Yes.
And I'm really excited about those enhancements.
I feel like they're going to put them at $20 because that's like the difference in cost, because the games now are 60 and the games coming up are going to be 80, and they're going to make you pay the difference. I think I could be wrong. They could release them and they'd be $10. I would love if they were $10. I do think if you've already purchased the game for Switch and you are putting them in your Switch 2, I feel like you should get these upgrade packs for free, personally. But I don't know. Honestly, I'm more wanting the upgrade packs for the Mario Party one and the Kirby one, because you're getting additional content there.
Yeah.
Instead of it just being like the upgraded version of the content you already have. And the extra content you're getting with the Zelda games doesn't excite me all that much. The tracking app that you can use to help you track down things in Zelda, and being able to like build your construct in Tears of the Kingdom and then share it via a QR code, I'm not as excited about. I don't know if I'm going to be buying the upgrade packs for those, but definitely for Mario Party Jamboree and Kirby, they've got me.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. Yeah, just for reasons I just said, I can play those games elsewhere.
Yeah.
I could play those on my handheld on the couch. I could play them at my computer. I'm not burning. They're not burning a hole in my pocket.
You know where you can get really cool stuff that won't burn a hole in your pocket?
I don't.
No.
tvillain.com. T-Villain is a t-shirt site where you'll find a killer limited edition shirt being sold for $13 only while supplies last. Every Monday, the site features a new design by a new artist. We would tell you what's featured right now, but by the time you hear this, it's already changed.
They choose the most ingenious designs that reflect everything evil and villainy, as well as works pertaining to anything artistic, pulp style, lowbrow, pop culture, TV, movies, music, video games, comics, etc. All things cool and evil, basically. To check them out and help Casters Guild, click our link in the description.
But anyway, jumping back in, I do want to say the only other thing I had written down, like I really wanted to say, is that Shadow Labyrinth game. When Secret Level came out, the Amazon television series all about video games, I watched the Pac-Man episode and I was like, what the fuck was that? That had nothing to do with the video game Pac-Man. It was entirely separate. And now they're releasing a game that is basically that episode of the television show.
Is that what that game is?
Yes.
Get out.
Have you watched Secret Level?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, I think you should. I think it's worth your time. And the Pac-Man episode of that show, I watched it and I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? Because it has like nothing to do. Yeah, it has nothing to do with fucking Pac-Man. And then I saw these trailers and teasers for Shadow Labyrinth, and I was like, it's the Pac-Man episode of Secret Level.
Jesus.
I feel like some wires got crossed there. I feel like this game was already in development and they were going to make a Secret Level episode about it, and then that game got delayed, but they couldn't delay the television show. So they're like, just call it the Pac-Man episode. Don't mention the game that's in development at all. and then finally this game is coming out. I mean, it's Pac-Man tangentially related. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I'm watching the preview right now. This is absolutely insane.
Yes,
but here's the thing: on Steam, it's $29.99.
I feel like it'll probably be the same price on Switch. A lot of the third-party digital stuff does tend to be less expensive, especially when it comes to like more indie stuff. Obviously, this isn't necessarily indie, but
yeah, it's an indie style game.
Yeah,
it's not cutting edge, it's not AAA. Anything that's not AAA, they just call it indie style now.
Yeah,
but I'm just curious about that.
Deltarune chapters 1 through 4.
Okay, so I know somebody who's super excited for that, and I think they're going to get that Switch 2 just for that. Because I'm willing to bet Nintendo talked to, I can't remember their names.
Toby Fox?
And said, hey, make us exclusive for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, however long.
Probably. It's probably one of the reasons it has taken so long to get chapters of Deltarune up until this point. Because Nintendo was like, no, don't release those chapters. Wait until we release the Switch 2. And we'll pay you X amount of money.
Now, that game's always been very, very inexpensive.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see what they're going to do with that.
Enter the Gungeon 2. I was a big fan of Enter the Gungeon, so that new 3D art style looks sick. I'm definitely excited about that one.
Street Fighter 6.
With amiibo support.
With amiibo support. I was what? What are you doing? Whatever. That's funny. I have concerns for Street Fighter 6. It's a pretty graphic intensive game, and to play it online, your timing's got to be perfect. You normally need a wired connection. So it says they have a wired connection for the Switch 2, a wired LAN or a wired LAN cable connection or internet cable
built into the dock.
About people. Yeah, built into the dock. I'm concerned about people playing handheld because that just causes the worst lag, and it's a big problem in the fighting game industry. Is people playing not hardwired? Oh, kills us all.
I think what it's going to come down to is the people who are playing hardcore and not playing casually will not be playing on the Switch anyway. And there will probably be options in your matchmaking where you can just kind of cut out people who are playing on the Switch if it's even completely cross-compatible.
Just so you know, I don't discriminate. I will play you on your Switch. You got a lag, that's fine. We'll lag it up. Come at me, SickSadBilly. I'm up there. Just let me know. I'm not very good, but I'll take your lag.
And the last game I really want to talk about, because I mean, there's a whole list of games here, and like we will spend the rest of the episode if we go over all these games. But the last game I need to talk about is Kirby Air Riders, because Kirby Air Ride was the shit when it came out, and I never thought I'd see a sequel to that game again, or even a remake. But to see a sequel that's amazing. That's mind blowing to me.
Are you disappointed in the number of remakes that are coming out?
No, honestly, because the only reason I play remakes is because I want to play the original game, and like this remake has quality of life improvements or like slightly better graphics that are easier to look at. If they want to spend their time on newer, better sequels to these games, I'd rather them do that than spend the time on remakes.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. I think Nintendo's going to do what Nintendo does and cash in on its history and continue with these remakes of games. You know, it looks like now they're kind of sneaking into the GameCube era where they're going to start remaking those games. And then charging a ton for it.
Yeah, and I think that GameCube emulator is just going to be like free advertising for them. Like when they're ready to remake a game, they might like release the old version on like the emulator, and then when people enjoy that on the emulator, then I mean they did the same thing with Super Mario RPG and the 7 Stars. When they did the remake, they released the regular version on their little emulators and stuff. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I mean, in that way, only if you really want those upgrades do you even have to pay for it, because like you'll be able to play the original versions. But honestly, just like the air ride community, and like there is an air ride community. There are people who literally go to conventions to play air ride tournaments to this day. Just never thought they'd even get a remake, let alone a sequel. So to get Kirby Air Riders, like I said, it's just mind blowing to me.
Some good old fan service. Got to make the fans happy.
Mm-hmm. Which they've been ignoring us since GameCube. Like, they released that game. It's the only one in the series for GameCube, and then they didn't release one for Wii, Wii U, Switch, and then finally Switch 2. They're like, okay, we hear you. But I feel like there are certain communities that Nintendo has that they're very diehard communities that, like, they get drip fed, like the Kirby Air Rider community or the Metroid community, which we're finally getting Prime 4. And that Switch 2 mouse compatibility is going to be awesome.
I'm a little worried about the mouse compatibility. We've done Nintendo mice before. That didn't work out too well.
I'm choosing to be optimistic about the Joy-Con mouse versus like some of the mice that we've gotten previously from Nintendo.
Oh, that's right, the Joy-Cons. Joy-Cons are magnetic this time around.
Mm-hmm.
It's not those clips that felt like they'd break if you moved them around too much.
Yeah.
There's another system out there. That's the Lenovo Legion Go. It's got those same magnetic clips for its Joy-Cons, for lack of a better term. Theirs is a little shaky. I mean, I'm expecting Nintendo's to be perfect at first, but I think over time they get kind of shaky.
We'll see. The magnets aren't in the controller; they're in the system. Right. And then the buttons, the SL and SR buttons, are made out of steel. So like that's what's connecting to the magnets, and then like you have to use the release button to get them to release. Otherwise, they just won't let go. So
yeah, I want to see how strong those magnets are too.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right. One game I want to talk about. What do you think about Cyberpunk, the Ultimate Edition on Nintendo Switch 2?
I feel like it's going to be a lot like Cyberpunk on the PS4, where, yeah, it's there, and yeah, you can play it, but you probably shouldn't be. Like, if it's your only option, go for it, but, like, you probably shouldn't be.
Now, do you think it's going to have that classic Nintendo editing, hence the Ultimate Edition?
No, I feel like the only... I'm hoping that it's the Ultimate Edition because it's including the game, the big updates, and the DLC. I'm hoping that's why it's Ultimate.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be a little less gay.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, look, if you look at what's available on like the Nintendo eShop now, like there's stuff there that's worse than what's in Cyberpunk.
There's some weird stuff that comes out.
So I mean, I feel like when it comes to Nintendo and the stuff that has that, like, this was developed by Nintendo, I feel like, yeah, it's got that. But like when it comes to the third party stuff, I don't think they're as strict as they used to be.
I don't know. I can't see it. I can't see it being like the Cyberpunk we know. There's just no way.
Yeah, we'll have to see when it comes out. But at the same time, even if it's no content has been cut, nothing has been edited, nothing has been censored, I still feel like you should probably be playing it on a more powerful system. Play it on a PS5, play it on a PC that can handle it. Probably shouldn't be playing it on your Switch.
So, I mean, it's supposed to be coming out on Switch 2. Are we saying that the Switch 2 isn't going to be powerful enough for it?
I think it's going to be... my thing is that I've kind of been saying since the beginning, I think it's going to be about as powerful as the PS4, which PS4 can run Cyberpunk, but it probably shouldn't. You know what I mean?
I definitely agree with the PS4, yeah. Yeah, I guess if the Switch 2 is going to be at that level, then yeah, I see the point.
I think the Switch 2 can play Cyberpunk Ultimate Edition. I don't think that the Switch 2 can play Cyberpunk, if that makes sense. That's deep.
Yeah, I feel like they'll probably make it so it will run smoothly. I feel like, if nothing else, CD Projekt Red has learned their lesson on releasing a game that does not run smoothly on the system it was released on.
Ain't that the truth, Ruth?
So, yeah, it's just... I'm happy that people who only have access to Nintendo consoles, like this is the price point that they're locked in on and can't afford the more expensive stuff, will be able to experience the game. I hope as far as content goes that it's not watered down, that like maybe it's just like, not as graphically intense, or, maybe has less assets or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not gonna touch it. I mean, like, I've got Cyberpunk on my PS5 and that's how I'm gonna play it.
I don't know. I'm curious. I'm not curious enough to pay $80 for it, but I'm curious.
Maybe someone we know will get it, and then like we can borrow their game cart, their digital game cart.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
All right. Anything else we want to cover before moving on from the Switch 2?
No, we could probably talk about this for another hour and a half.
All right. Let's see before we call time if we can power through this Marvel list, this MCU list for every TV and movie release currently set. All right, so May 2nd, 2025, we've got Thunderbolts. Any thoughts on Thunderbolts?
It's a movie.
Yeah, it's been freaking spoiled. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that 5.5-hour spoiler.
I don't know. Just like we were saying, just because they're in this movie doesn't mean they won't like die in Thunderbolts or something won't happen with multiverse shenanigans. They could.
I would like to point out that Taskmaster was not one of those listed chairs.
Oh, fair enough.
Spoiler alert.
Ironheart is coming out June 24th.
I'm
pretty surprised that's coming out still.
Me too. I mean, not that I have anything against it. It's just with everything happening, it's like, well, okay.
And apparently the villain's going to be the Hood.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I like the Hood.
I do. I like the Hood as well.
Also, the rumor that Mephisto will be in this one. For real this time.
Well,
we'll see.
Played by Sacha Baron Cohen.
How do you feel about the matchup of Ironheart and the Hood? Or Ironheart versus the Hood?
I'm just happy that the Hood's in it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I am too. Ironheart and the armored people aren't in, like, he's not in their rogues gallery. That's not usually who fights the Hood.
Right.
But yeah, I suppose I will be happy with that.
Next up, we've got Fantastic Four First Steps, July 25th. Technically, this being the first movie of Phase 6.
Yeah, I'm sufficiently excited for this.
I'm very excited. I got a friend of mine really excited about it.
I was watching another channel of theorists and shit talking about this, and they were talking about Doctor Doom, and about how Doctor Doom got his powers the same way that the Fantastic Four did. And, like, it was that way in the comics, and it was that way in all the movies. And I'm like, I remember it being like that in the comics.
No.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. Like, he's just this genius who made his suit of armor and learned magic.
Pretty sure.
I mean,
but I'm not the biggest comic fan, so
I was being quite reductive, but
yeah, I mean, if you want to drop it down to basics, that's pretty much Doctor Doom in a nutshell. Yeah, don't forget he had an experiment blow up in his face, and Reed told him, "Hey, man, you're gonna fuck that up. You're gonna get shit all over your face, and you're gonna turn into an asshole." And he said, "No, I'm not gonna turn into an asshole." And then he did. He turned into an asshole. He put on a metal mask and then started rapping.
True.
All right, next up we got Eyes of Wakanda coming out August 6th. The animated series going over the history of Wakanda.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. I really like their animated series so far.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun with the What If series.
Now I wonder if they'll use the same style though as the What If style.
It does look very similar from the screenshot that I'm looking at.
Is that from? I thought this was from What If.
Oh, it might be. I don't know.
Like in T'Challa's episode where he became Star-Lord?
Yeah, maybe. I guess we'll see. I'm pulling all my information from Polygon, by the way, and I'm not seeing like an attached animation studio or anything like that, so I don't know. But it would be cool. That's good animation style.
Yeah, it's not bad.
In October, of course, it's in October, we're getting Marvel Zombies. We've already gotten a little bit of Marvel Zombies in season 1 of What If, but apparently it's getting its own 4-episode miniseries.
Hot take. I could give a fuck less.
Hotter take. I actually can't give a fuck.
Hot take. I'm right in between the two of you. Because I honestly don't care all that much, but I think it'll be a real fun watch for Halloween. So
I actively disliked the Marvel Zombies and the Marvel Zombie storyline.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how it came to be with the Ultimate Fantastic Four. I thought that was clever. It was cool. It made sense. You thought that they broke into the 616 universe, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, they broke in!" And it ends up being a zombie Reed, and zombie Reed bites him, and everybody goes fucking insane. It was a great little series. I don't know if that's what they're going to do here. Now that they own all the characters, they can, but who knows? So I'm excited about it. If they use that story, great. If not, then I hope the new story is even better.
Nice.
Next up, we got Wonderman coming out in December. This will be a TV series for Disney Plus. We're looking at a 10-episode series. This is going to be showing my complete lack of comic book knowledge because I've never heard of Wonderman.
Oh man, really?
He came from his origins was he was a child actor and a child superhero named Wonder Boy,
Okay.
where everybody was trying to find the secrets to his power.
Oh, come on. See, you can get away with that. I was on the hook. I was like, I don't know this comic. Like, this could be true. And then I'm just like, motherfucker.
I was completely trying to take advantage of you guys.
I'm sitting over here like, let him cook.
Right?
This doesn't sound right at all, but I'm gonna let him cook.
Yeah, Billy knows enough about the character that it was like, this is immediate bullshit.
You got me all the way to Secrets of His Power, and I'm like, motherfucker. Did you really just Tenacious D me?
Yeah. But I mean, he's cool, and he's tied in tight with the Vision, which, I mean, technically it's a little late. Well, no.
No, it's right in time.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's not to look too far ahead, but I know there's a Vision show, Vision Quest.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that when we get there. But Wonder Man could jump right into that. It's just boom, boom, boom. You know how they say at that one place. Boom.
The only thing I really know about it is apparently Kevin Feige was quoted as saying it will be extremely different from anything we've done before.
I wonder if it's going to be a reality show. Or if they're going to film it like The Office.
That would be something.
That would be something. Man, that might just suck.
Oh, and I know Ben Kingsley's going to be back playing Trevor Slattery again.
Which I think is great. It fits. You know what? I was about to argue it, but Ben Kingsley's character fit great in Shang-Chi, given the circumstances.
Sure.
And he fits great in this, really. Because he's an actor.
Sir Ben Kingsley, yeah, he's a great actor. He's a sir.
No, Sir Trevor Slattery is a great actor.
Both things can be true.
They'd never see him coming.
All right. And moving on to 2026, Avengers Doomsday, May 1st. I feel we spent a lot of last episodes talking about Doomsday, so...
Yeah, I'm not feeling too great about it, considering half the people that should be in it aren't, apparently.
I mean, I don't know. That was like... That's not necessarily a comprehensive cast list that we got.
I was
kidding. Okay.
We are getting more. I think they're going to do another chair reveal here pretty soon.
Oh God, don't do that again. Hopefully they learn their lesson. Don't do that again.
And then at the end of it, Robert Downey Jr. is introduced again at the end, and he does another shush.
He does it with a creepy voice. He goes shush.
Shush.
So you remember the really small chair?
Yeah.
That's all I got from it.
Yeah.
Remember the small chair?
It's the only clever thing they did for the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So yeah, that's all I could say about that. I'm not, they really didn't build any excitement at all.
They brought as much excitement as just releasing the list would have brought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some of the names were exciting, but like you could have just released the list. Spider-Man, Brand New Day, coming out July 31st.
I'm excited about that.
I'm excited every time they announce another Spider-Man movie because every time I'm like, are we going to get another Tom Holland movie? Are we going to get another Tom Holland movie? And
this one is rumored to have Mephisto for real this time. Played by Sacha Baron Cohen. I don't know if anybody started that rumor, but I'm starting it now.
Yes, I agree with you. Whatever.
I mean, honestly, if Mephisto is going to show up in any Spider-Man movie, it's the one named Brand New Day.
Well, he's already done the thing.
He made another deal with Mephisto.
A different deal.
He did.
Why'd he do that?
I don't know. Because him's dumb.
Because Peter can't win. That's like the whole point of his character is that he can't win.
I'm excited that Destin Daniel Cretton is doing the movie though.
What are his qualifications?
Shang-Chi.
Ah,
And Sadie Sink is in it. And because she's a redhead, everybody's flipping out saying that she's going to be Mary Jane. She's taking over the Mary Jane role and is like,
I
Guys.
fucking hope not.
guys, hair dye exists. I mean, let's see. Where else would there have been a redheaded actress in a Spider-Man movie who actually played a blonde?
yeah, that was weird too.
Seeing Emma Stone as a blonde was a little weird, yes, but
Yeah.
but she played a great Gwen, and I'm not even saying Sadie Sink is going to play Gwen. I'm going to throw out there that she's playing Black Cat.
Oh, what's her name from
That'd be cool as
Spider-Man
hell.
3? Ron Howard's kid played
Oh,
Gwen. She was
God.
blonde. Yeah, they blonded
No,
her
she
out.
played. Did she play Gwen? Yeah, she did
Yeah,
play
she
Gwen.
played-
Yeah,
They blonded her out for that.
she
too.
was stunning in that role. She did not seem real.
And just like Feige said of Wonderman, Holland said of this movie, it's a little different than anything we've ever done before. So we're getting a lot of new things out of the MCU this upcoming phase.
As long as none of them are musicals, we're good.
Next up, Vision Quest the musical.
Oh,
I would give anything for like a full cut of that Avengers musical that was in
I think a lot of people
Hawkeye.
would. I think a lot of people would.
anyway.
So yeah, up next is Vision Quest, which is currently undated. We do not have a release date for it.
Rumored to have. No, I can't do that again. I'm sorry.
We don't know too much about it other than apparently it is a WandaVision spinoff and it features the new White Vision.
I would not be surprised to see Power Man in this one, or Wonder Man in this one. Power Man. We'll get to that, but yeah, if you want to go ahead and take over there, let us know what's up.
I would imagine Ultron would be in this one.
Or a version of, yeah.
Yeah, Ultron doesn't. He is way of never going away. And I'm reading that James Spader will return. So
Nice.
maybe a flashback. I don't know, but he'll be there with his silky voice.
But you were saying earlier about the connection between Wonder Man and Vision that we would revisit right now.
Yeah. So we're going to jump into that. So the original Vision was his personality was based on the actual personality of Wonder Man. Something happened. I don't remember, but to make Vision a good guy, they used his personality. So his attraction to Scarlet Witch and all that was actually Wonder Man's attraction. Wonder Man was dead for all this time. He died for 5 years, 10 years? Who knows? It's Marvel. During that time, Vision basically, his entire personality was based on Wonder Man. And then when he lost that personality is when he turned into the White Vision.
Yeah.
So it seems like this is going to be a backwards of that. And then the White Vision's going to get his personality back by sucking off on Wonder Man. That's probably not the best way to put that. Sucking off. Sucking off.
Wow.
Siphoning off, I meant. Siphoning off Wonder Man.
I mean, I was totally sold. I was going to watch the series based off your original description there, but if it's just siphoning, I'm not.
Yeah, we're going to siphon off. Well, he's got to get down on his knees.
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah. Thanks,
right.
James Spader.
Moving on. Daredevil Born Again Season 2. No date for
and
it
they
yet.
have said to arrive in early to mid 2026.
But not an actual date. Like we got we've got a window. We've got a window.
The fact though that they're saying early to mid 2026 means that they have to be working on it now.
Yeah.
So if I remember right, I don't remember his name being brought up during the 55 chairs thing.
No, none of them. No. Which I think is a fucking shame.
No, there's no respect for Daredevil. There never was.
None of the TV series, like the Netflix TV series people, the only reason why they exist now in this context as they do is because the fans. Oh. Like they listen to the fans, which I mean they're Disney, they don't fucking have to, I guess. But it would have been a complete fucking waste to let these characters die when there's so much potential for them.
Sure.
Also, spoiler. Apparently, Deborah Ann Woll and Eldon Henson are supposed to be in season 2. I'm not going to tell you how that's a spoiler.
I'm gonna confess here. I actually haven't watched season 1 yet, and I really need to sit down and do that. I instead watched the animated Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man series, and I really need to sit down and watch Daredevil.
Oh, well, that animated Spider-Man series was wonderful, I thought.
I liked it a lot.
It was definitely a new take of this. Oh, how do I word that? Because some of those were just shot-by-shot remakes of scenes from the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
It's a new take and of the same material, I guess. I don't know. It's almost like you're looking at it through a different lens.
Yeah. Definitely playing up the alternate reality thing pretty heavy.
Yeah. Also, Matthew Lillard's supposed to be in the next season of Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that
I'm glad he's getting out doing more.
Made him sound like he's 200 years old. I'm glad he's getting out.
He was wasting his time just staying inside playing D&D all the time.
All right, and wrapping up Phase 6 will be 2027, May 7th, Avengers Secret Wars.
So, which one is it? Which Secret Wars is this going to be about?
It's a secret.
That's
what this was for. For Secret Wars. Oh,
yep,
wow.
Must be.
I've cracked the case.
That was amazing.
That revelation just took all the energy left out of me.
It says here in this article from Polygon that the title refers to a cosmic comics crossover event about the collapsing multiverses that could even herald a complete reboot of the MCU.
So it's probably going to involve the God King Doom and the battle world that God King Doom made, blah, blah, blah.
Or, the other Secret Wars that came out in
his jumpsuit?
No. Well, yeah, that one. That's the one you guys are talking about with the battle world and all that good stuff. There's another one. The one that folded Miles Morales into their 616 universe.
My guess is, based off of what we've seen of the MCU doing so far, my guess is they're going to do both stories at once. They're going to find a way to mash them up, and this is like their Secret Wars, and it's going to be both of them.
Okay. That's best of both worlds.
Yeah, no, I was thinking of the God King Doom, the God Doom from the 2015 Secret Wars. And I think that the Miles Morales one was before this one? How many Secret Wars did they fucking have?
And there was one Secret War with no S. It's like DC has Crisis. You know. DC does Crisis. Marvel does secret shit.
Yeah, my guess is they'll pick and choose what they want from all of them and build their own thing.
That's probably their best bet. I think it needs to be completely different.
Are you disappointed if there's no Beyonder?
No, I can do without the Beyonder. I'm fine.
Are you disappointed if there is a Beyonder and he doesn't have a Jerry card?
Oh, well, shit. Yes, I would be disappointed.
As you should be. Next up, we have a few that were announced, but no release date. Armor Wars.
That sounds
not so secret.
Yep.
It sounds incredibly passable.
Look, I just want my boy Don to get this fucking movie, man. I'm fucking tired of them fucking this guy around.
We know that Ironheart will be a part of it too. Like, gotta be. Black Panther 3.
I mean, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. I'm excited for it.
Blade.
I need to watch the second one. Yeah, that's back.
Blade is back officially again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, do you think Wesley Snipes is somehow going to get in there?
Who knows? Who knows? I wish I had something profound to say there, but like it's like I'm got no idea. Nova.
I mean, I'm also seeing that that's on hold as well.
Yeah, it says whether it will actually happen is uncertain, but it was announced at one point in time, so we'll see if it actually happens.
I guess Nova, it's loosely based on the Green Lantern Corps. The one from Earth is called Richard Rider, if I remember. I mean, it's something cosmic, so I'd watch it.
Richard.
Hey, that's his name. What do you want?
And Shang-Chi 2.
Yeah, sure.
Shang-Chi was great. Yeah, go ahead and give me another one.
I have to confess, I've never been able to sit through it.
I love that movie.
I don't know why I just haven't been able to sit through it. I fall asleep or something comes up that's more important and I just don't watch.
I still think that Shang-Chi would have been better if it was Iron Fist.
So now I'm going to think about that.
Make Simu Liu Iron Fist. They should have just made that movie that.
Hey, I heard you're going to be in the MCU.
It was Gilda Kree.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, which one you in?
Did we establish that yet? Which one I'm going to be in?
I think the idea was that we were going to when we got to that name on the list, and then it just kind of slipped our minds.
I'm gonna be in Blade.
Mm.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Guild,
That's a good one.
Guildmaster Baron Kane is the new Whistler.
I did have a quick cameo in Deadpool 3.
Ooh.
You got to find me though. I'm in there.
Other Whistler.
Mm-hmm. Or I should say, there's evidence of me in Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
Much like there is evidence of Nova in the Endgame. It's there.
All right. So the last thing I'm going to bring up, this is not MCU, but it is technically Marvel. We got a release date for the next Spider-Verse movie. It was originally supposed to come out in March of 2024. It got pulled because of the SAG-AFTRA strikes, but it has been officially announced for a release date on June 4th, 2027.
Man, it's like the only thing Sony can do with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm just happy we're getting it. Like, I love those fucking movies. I don't care how long it's going to take. I don't care if it's all they can do. I don't care how many terrible live-action Sinister Six films I have to sit through.
Isn't it sad that the best live-action contribution to the Spider-Man franchise, not counting, Tom Holland, whatever, anyways,
right,
that Sony was directly responsible for, the best live-action contribution that Sony was responsible for was in the Spider-Verse movies.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
That would be Donald Glover's small cameo.
Yeah,
in the second Spider-Verse movie.
But yeah, I'm stoked for this movie. I don't care how long I have to wait. Just give it to me.
Let's get that soundtrack out there right now.
Yeah. God, their soundtracks are so good, and like I never talk about that because of how good everything else is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything about the series is amazing.
Yeah, we've got right now is a release date and a few promotional images, and the promotional images all look good. I'm here for it.
Yep.
Yeah, same quality we expect from them, which is weird because it's just weird that they can't do anything else. It's like DC; they can make great animation, but they can't do shit for movies.
Yeah, release Batgirl.
Yeah, I mean they're re-releasing the fucking. They are now releasing the Acme versus Coyote or Wile E. Coyote movie that they quote unquote deleted.
Yep.
Why can't we get Batgirl? James Gunn, do the right thing.
All right, a couple other unrelated snippets that I do want to bring up before we end this episode. We got a release date for the live-action Zelda movie. We'll see. We'll see.
Sure, yeah. That is definitely a stay tuned.
Yeah, I feel I liked the animated Mario movie. I didn't like the casting all that much. We'll see what happens with the live-action Zelda movie. We got a trailer for the new season of Black Mirror that's coming out. I've always been a fan of the series. I know a lot of other people aren't, but I like it. And there are at least 2 sequel episodes in this season coming up, so looks fun.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Smith's Dogma is coming back to theaters this June, which is a huge deal with how long it's been in, release hell, because it's been held by another studio and they haven't been able to release any prints of it. It hasn't been on any streaming services.
I wonder why it's been held like that.
I don't know.
But for its anniversary, it is doing a 25 city tour. I highly recommend anybody get out and see the flick if they can. It's a great movie, and hopefully it means we'll be seeing some releases on Blu-ray and streaming and stuff like that.
One of Chris Rock's less annoying roles.
Oh, yeah. That's saying something.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's still pretty annoying in this one.
Yeah.
And thanks to Guildmaster Baron, I know that Arby's will now be selling metal dice starting April 3rd.
Now, let's be real. We say starting April 3rd, but it's probably going to be only April 3rd and only the first 15 minutes that they're open.
They're probably going to sell out super quick. By the time you hear this, they will probably be fucking sold out.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Maybe. There's an Arby's that's close to my house, but it's like at a truck stop. I mean,
yeah, I'll say if you can go there and if they have any, please pick some up for me.
Are they
just
going to
know
be
that
selling it in stores, or is it just going to be online?
That's literally the only advertisement I saw for it. And I was really like, oh, this has got to be an April Fool's Day joke. But it was posted today.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first geeky shit that Arby's
No,
has
they've done D&D dice before.
Yeah.
I hate April Fool's Day
so much.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to be selling them online. I could be wrong, but there's no way they're sending these out to stores across the country.
Well, I can find out on my way home from school.
That would be great.
I'll go to the meat place.
Ooh.
I'll walk in there and say, "Hey, you got those dice?" And they'll look at me like, "Who the fuck are you?"
The original set of Arby's dice are, I'm seeing auctions on eBay for them from anywhere from $100 to almost $500.
Yep.
So, and those were just
funny as those
plastic dice with Arby's hat inclusions.
Right. And it's like as funny as those dice look, I'm not going to spend that. Now, metal dice, I will be a little upset if I can't get my hands on them.
I'll see what I can do.
We'll find out tomorrow if they're available online. Tomorrow, as of recording, anybody listening, you're a little late if you wait until you hear this on the recording.
Right.
Tune in next week and see if I actually get the thing.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, with that, thank you for tuning into this episode of Casters Guild. Email us at castersguild@gmail.com. Let us know if you got your hands on the metal Arby's dice. And let us know whether or not you will be getting a Switch 2 when it comes out.
Switch 2 also.
Fair enough. Join us on the Discord. That's where all the fun stuff is happening. And Baron, why don't you tell the people a little bit about our Patreon, which we have revived?
Yeah, we have revived our Patreon. Basically, we have realized that there's a lot of stuff that we want to do, but guess what? Most of things cost money. And, we're not really making money off of advertisements, but if we get some support now, later on, we could put that money towards editors, maybe producers, even though Master Ric is the absolute best producer anybody could ever ask for.
Oh, shit.
But, we can pay people to do the work for us, and we could probably go a little further. So just come on in. We got really, really basic tiers. You can be the holder of the spoon. It's small little in joke, but you just come in and we say something nice to you on the podcast. You can just be a guild patron where you get some more benefits, or you can listen in on the podcast as it's being recorded. You don't get to say anything, but you get to listen. You come in, become a Midas agent, and we will send you geeky stuff every once in a while. And then we got some other stuff. I won't tell you what it is, what it involves, but one of them is called our Spicy Picks tier. You'll have to go to the Patreon to figure out what that means. And our Only for Our Fans tier. Again, really affordable for what it is. So, get on there and check it out. But yeah, if we just get a bunch of people on, holding our spoons, then by all means, that's going to go a long way towards what we want to get done.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Links in the description.
That got weird.
And we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Crazy.
See you later.
Crazy. Bye.